This is the Chester County Real Estate Podcast, bringing you the info you need to make your next move a great one. This show is brought to you by RE/MAX Ace Realty. For show notes and links, go to acerealtypa.com/podcast.
In this episode, we're going to jump into the November numbers and check out some of the data from the MLS on what happened last month and kind of see if it helps us give us an idea of what the market is doing right now. A couple points to remember. First of all, it's the local data that is what's actually relevant to you and your situation. We hear a lot of news and headlines on national data and numbers going up or down. And a lot of people kind of speculating on a national level of what the housing market is doing. But I always say, make sure you're talking to a licensed agent, a realtor, and they can get you real data of what's actually going on right here, right now, especially here in Chester County. As I'm going through this, I never really say the numbers are good or bad because it all really depends on your situation and what you're looking to do. Honestly, one market is going to be really great for one person, and then someone else is going to be not ideal. My advice is to know what market you're in and act accordingly. So if you're looking to buy, knowing what the market is doing right now just kind of gives you an idea of what you need to be looking for and what it's going to take to actually accomplish what you're trying to do. All right. So let's see here. All right, so what I have here is the weekly market report from the MLS, from the BrightMLS, and what the numbers have been doing last week in Pennsylvania. So this is the weekly snapshot for the week ending December 4th, 2022. As you can see, these are the counties that this snapshot is covering. So it's a fairly wide area, fairly broad area. Right here we have Chester County right in the towards the middle there. But when you're looking at these numbers, just consider the size of the area and the different markets that it encompasses. So for new closed sales, we have 1,657. That's down 36.5% from a year ago. So over a third less than this week last year. New purchase contracts is 1,172, down 29.1%. New listings is 1,136, and that's down 17.7%. And this is important because we were talking about this last week, how if the amount of new listings hitting the market if the buyer volume is low and the listing volume is low, we're not going to see a huge move on price. So this is that ratio here, new pendings per 100 new listings. We have 103 pendings per 100 new listings. So more homes are coming off the market than are coming on. Now that's still down 14.2% from last year, but it still shows, pretty positive market, at least for sellers. And then our showings, obviously, here were down 29.7% from this time last year. You can take a look at the numbers here compared to a week ago, but because this is weekly information, and typically we only cover this once a month, it really doesn't matter. The last week in a month is always going to be probably the highest week out of the entire month, because a lot of people want to settle before or towards the end of the month to save on closing costs. So we're not really looking so much from week to week as looking at this week at the same time last year, so we can get an idea of what the market's doing, what direction we're going in, and how quickly it's moving. So heading up to weekly new closed listings. So closing levels landed at 63.5% compared to the same week last year, and 64.6% compared to 2020. And it's 98.6% compared to 2019. So taking a look over here, 11/27 to 12/11 right here on the week ending December 4th, you can see we are below all 3 years. So we're a little bit less than 2019, a lot less than 2020 and 2021. If you notice here, it looks like this week, the last week of November looked very similar to the last week of October. So likewise, the last week this year looked pretty similar to the last week of October. So if you look at the general trajectory, everything is kind of down in a similar shape. So it's just kind of slowing down across the board. For weekly new purchase contracts, they came in at 70.9% of the same week last year and 68.1% compared to 2020. So heading down here, you can see this week, obviously it's lower than 2019. Obviously it's, and as well as 2020 and 2021. Still the general direction. So we're still seeing a similar shape as we should see during the holidays as we head into the winter market. But it's just a little bit lower. So we're definitely seeing a decrease in volume and activity. And then here we have weekly new listings. So the new listings were at 82.6% of the same week last year. So a little bit less, 77.7% compared to 2020. So we can kind of look down here and we can see again, it's a lot lower. If you notice, all these graphs had a bump, or a dip right at 1127. So that would be over the Thanksgiving holiday. Not a lot of people going to see houses. Not a lot of people putting their house on the market. However, closings aren't necessarily as affected as those two other things because closings are scheduled ahead of time. Moving down, we have the ratio of new pendings to new listings. So what I was talking about last month was that we were pretty much even. I think it was pretty much a 1-to-1 ratio, if I remember sure, pretty close to it, for as far as homes coming off the market as compared versus homes coming on the market. So now we're seeing there's 103 pending sales for every 100 new listings. So there are more homes going off the market than that are coming on the market, which in theory should keep prices where they're at because the supply and demand is still at the same equilibrium. Speaking of demand, we have weekly showings. We're looking at showing levels at 70.3% of the same week as last year. So that's down a good amount. Almost a third, and we can see that down here. It looks like in a lot of areas, especially around this time of year, 2020 and 2021 were very similar. 2019 was actually lower at certain points than others. And so right now we're just a little bit above 2019 levels as far as weekly showings go. So it's definitely less. We're seeing overall less than the last couple of years, but the market is still fairly healthy. So let's head over to closed listings. So I did a search, and you can see the criteria here this is residential homes in Chester County whose status was closed between the 1st of November and the 30th of November. I have the 2022 numbers and the 2021 numbers. So real quick, let's look at where we're at as far as the median closed prices of November 2022. Here, you're going to see the original list price was the median original list price was $469.9. The current price or the closed price would be $476.25. So things are closing right around where they were, right around asking for the most part. This is, it looks like a little bit above. So for the most part, people are still going over asking at some points, and we're seeing days on market stay at a median of 7. As far as sold price to original price, you can see that right here. They round up to 100%. So for sellers, it looks like the market is still fairly strong. If I flip over to the 2021 numbers, we can see here that the median list price was actually $425,000 with the sales price at $435,000. So this time last year, prices were still going up. We're actually seeing a higher median close price this year than we did last year, but this was still closing a lot higher than what they were listing for. So hopefully that gives you some information of just what the market's doing right now and what we're looking at as far as home sales in Chester County right now, up to date. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Feel free to give us a call. Give me a call here at the office at RE/MAX Ace Realty at 484-712-0009. You can also find us online at acerealtypa.com. Now, if you're looking to make a move and you want some advice for your specific situation, my recommendation is to talk to a licensed agent and realtor. We have great agents here who can definitely help you out with that. So just contact the office at acerealtypa.com. I also encourage you to check out our new website, chestercountypodcast.com. There you can see previous episodes of our show. You can find ways to contact us and get more information about everything that we do here. So once again, thanks for joining us, and I'll see you next week.
Thanks for listening. This has been the Chester County Real Estate Podcast, brought to you by RE/MAX Ace Realty, serving buyers and sellers in the Chester County area. Subscribe for new episodes at acerealtypa.com/podcast. And you can find us on Facebook, YouTube, and wherever podcasts are found.
This episode is brought to you by RE/MAX Ace Realty in Downingtown, PA. Whether you're looking to buy or sell a home, we have a real estate expert for you. Search for homes or contact an agent at acerealtypa.com.